Thank you for joining us on this edition of the show. Forward-looking countries continue to strengthen their innovation index as much as possible. My guest on the show is vested in seeing Nigeria joining the list of highly innovative countries, and he joins me to share his thoughts on how we can achieve this. This and more coming up right after now. I am Chukwemeka Agbata. Welcome to Tech Trends.
As technology changes the way we communicate, connect, create, consume, and innovate, it is democratizing access to opportunity. Education is no exception.
When a child finds it difficult solving math problems or struggles with reading or spelling, education experts consider these as signs of learning gaps. Gaps in a child's education can be very serious, especially when they involve the basics of learning. It's important to carefully fill these gaps without putting pressure on the child. In 2020, nations across the world enforced school closures induced by the COVID-19 pandemic, and this may have stunted some students' learning. Virtual classrooms became the go-to systems for schools to help bridge the widening learning gaps, and Gradely is one of the education technology platforms solving the problem.
So the problem we're trying to solve at Gradely is the problem of learning gaps, right? So when you have students take exams and fail after many years of schooling, it's usually because you have a cumulative effect of learning gaps that were not caught on time, and then those gaps kind of just compound, right? So what Gradely is doing is that we're trying to solve for that problem, because that's the problem that leads to failure. And today in Africa, 9 out of every 10 children are in school, but they are not learning, right? So in the era of the MDGs, the problem was getting children into schools. But today, the problem is that students are in schools as much as possible, but they are not learning while they're in school. And so that's the problem of quality. And to kind of solve that problem, you need to think about what is helping us to find out that these children are not learning, and then using that to solve the problem.
The platform proposes a better way for teaching and learning by delivering a personalized learning experience for students. Parents can also be involved in the process of closing the learning gaps.
What we have is school integrated, meaning that on the side of the school, we provide a learning system that allows schools to do things like, have live classes, share notes and materials, but specifically, they're able to create assessment very quickly using Gradely. We have a content library of questions that are mapped to curriculum and mapped to topics and mapped to difficulty levels, and teachers can quickly select those questions. They can also differentiate learning by focusing on some students in class or other students in class. And so we give that tool because we care about the data that comes from assessment. It helps us find where those gaps might be, right? And then on the back of that data, Gradely can then recommend daily library of content like video lessons, practice, adaptive practice, and on-demand tutors.
Gradely uses analytics and data-driven recommendations to drive the platform. It gamifies some of its learning to make it fun for the children and keep them engaged.
The data-driven recommendation that we use is because we solely depend on data. So we have enough information about your practices that you've taken on the platform already. That way we will have studied and understand where you are lagging. And our system now recommends resources that can fill in those gaps that is missing in your knowledge, like those places that it says that you're not really performing very well. Give you necessary recommendations like videos, more practice, even some of our gamification, right? It gives you some games regarding the topics you are really struggling with and more practices. and that's how we know if you have improved or not.
The web app makes it possible for schools and parents to intervene early in a student's educational trajectory and provides insight into the learning progress of each child.
Nigerian national Yusuf Bilesomi and his team at the UK's Loughborough University are one of the top contenders for the Royal Academy of Engineering's Africa Prize. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, they set up Shifa Technologies. In less than a year, they have developed the Shevent, a low-cost, non-electric and non-invasive ventilator. Its simple design enables it to be operated by non-specialist healthcare workers in remote parts of the world, including some parts of Africa.
So here's the Shevent, and the way it works is we have oxygen supplied into our venturi. The venturi blends air with oxygen, and then that goes through the expiration pipe. The patient inhales and then exhales into the expiration pipe, which then goes back into the bubbler. And that's, you can see that creates pressure. That pressure, of course, then enables, keeps the airways open, as well as reduces the work of breathing of the patient.
If you set 13, the value is going to like... The dynamic actually changes. It's completely different because you have cycles. This provided because it's filled with them. So it was dropping. You will be too comfortable and you will fall asleep immediately.
There's a significant demand for oxygen supply globally. When you have a system that requires less oxygen, it makes it much more efficient for hospitals to run. For example, in Lagos, there's a demand of 15 LPM of oxygen, and that requires about 300 cylinders on a daily basis. Right? With our systems, we can go as low as 5 LPM, which reduces that cost to as low as 100 cylinders of oxygen in contrast to 300.
The Shevent utilizes a specially designed bottle with 3D printed components and plastic jar, along with ventilator-sized tubing and face masks available off the shelf. Although the selling price of the device is yet to be determined, it will cost only a fraction of the cost of the average regular bubble CPAPs. The device can be plugged into existing oxygen supply channels in hospitals, making it suitable for low-resource settings. Using the principles of bubble continuous positive airway pressure, the Shevent blends air with a high-flow oxygen supply using a Venturi-type air blender and delivers this to a patient still able to breathe by themselves. The patient exhales into a water column, with the bubbles creating back-end pressure that keeps the airway open for gas exchange and maintaining long volumes throughout the respiratory cycle. This is critical to the survival of patients experiencing respiratory distress.
One of the other distinctive features about the Shevent is that we've assembled easily accessible parts, such as the bubbler here. This bubbler can be found in any market across the world. The unique things we've built are the venturis, the bubbler cap, and the nose mask adjustable features.
Shifa has tested the system in hospitals in Lagos, and Bilesomi says the system, much of which is currently 3D printed by the company, could be scaled up quickly by a future commercial partner, which Shifa is actively seeking. The Africa Prize 2021 shortlist represents 9 countries, including for the first time Côte d'Ivoire and Senegal. 6 of the 16-strong shortlist are female innovators, including Faith Adesemowo from Nigeria. Adesemowo has developed Social Lender, a digital financial services solution that provides immediate access to formal financial services to those with little to no traditional access to banks.
Typically, if I use Nigeria as a case point, you find that quite a bit of Nigerians, so the problem is financial inclusion. A lot of people are not financially included. In Africa, this is a huge problem by itself. We have millions and millions of Africans who fall into this category. So the idea is these people need access to formal financial services, and we're there to provide that access.
Social Lenders partners with various financial service providers to offer facilities based on social reputation scoring. It uses a proprietary algorithm to perform a social audit of users based on their mobile, social media, and other online activity, allowing them to access credit and savings facilities and other services from banks.
What we did was we built, it's our own proprietary algorithm. We score that individual, and based on that score, it's an alternative credit score, which we call a social reputation score. Based on the score, that individual can now access services on our platform with the partners that are already on our platform.
Another is Cameroon-based Amel Sidje, who has created biopackaging, which transforms banana and plantain stems into biodegradable paper packaging products. The business was created to address plastic pollution and improper waste management in Cameroon. Meanwhile, South African Shepo Mangoele has created Dissolve Bioplastic, a novel bioplastic made using plant waste material. The biodegrading process of currently available bioplastics can take anywhere from 3 to 6 months, while Dissolve Plastic biodegrades in roughly 61 days. It is designed to dissolve in water within 36 to 72 hours, depending on the product straws, cutlery, or packaging. Launched by the Royal Academy of Engineering in 2014, the annual Africa Prize awards commercialization support to the innovators who are transforming their local communities. It has a track record of identifying engineering entrepreneurs with significant potential. Three tips to secure your online accounts. As platform owners create newer ways to better secure online accounts, so are hackers working hard to bypass such new efforts, and this creates an endless circle. However, all users of such online accounts have a role to play in ensuring that their accounts are safe while using those platforms. These tips will help you better to stay safe online. Add a mobile number to your accounts. Passwords alone are not exactly safe because there are a number of not too difficult ways to grab the passwords from millions of users almost at the same time. This is the reason most online platforms allow you to add your mobile number, which is designed to serve as a second layer of security in case your account gets hijacked or you lose your password for whatever reason. Suspicious apps and websites. Start by visiting your settings in order to review the apps and websites that have access to your account. You can revoke the access of an app that you find suspicious or of an app that you don't use. Remember, always stay clear of anything that looks remotely suspicious on internet. This includes certain applications on the official app stores and any other third-party app sites. Add pop-ups, spam and phishing mails. Do not click on anything you are unsure of the source. Regular change of passwords. It is important to change your passwords every 3 months or so. This is applicable to all your online accounts and it is for your own safety. Note, no password is 100% foolproof. It is possible to use a password that will make it a little harder for hackers to gain access to your online accounts.
Next is my chat with the CEO of F1 Interactive, Wale Kuku. Stay with us.
The digital era has brought a pivotal shift in the global economy, pushing the limits of innovation and redefining the boundaries of global trade. Fast-paced technological innovations are changing the world of work, with some jobs transforming faster than others. Innovation is set at the center of the much-needed growth, and Nigeria, with its vibrant and growing tech sector, is yet to reach its full potential. Therefore, in order to expand innovation and entrepreneurship in the country, there is a need for an informed presence and interaction between the government and actors in the tech entrepreneurship ecosystem. We chat with Wale Kuku, CEO of F1 Interactive, and he shares how Nigeria can join the list of highly innovative countries.
Wale, glad to have you on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
So let's get started. What is your opinion on the state of innovation in the country today?
I think we're doing okay. So far, so okay. Fintech has been doing a great job. We've been pulling our weight in fintech and even in mobile financial services. I believe that we're even doing better than the West. Kind of medicine too, we're seeing some good innovations coming out. Especially because of the crisis. And Tremendous is doing great with some pretty interesting features. But I'll say we're just still scratching the surface because we're not seeing much in big tech. We're not seeing much in hardware. We're not seeing much in security. Security is a big issue in Nigeria today, and we need a lot of innovation to help out in covering the security issues.
The COVID-19 pandemic made it quite difficult to run your startup or your organization. But of course, we know that it's possible to see opportunities in crisis. How would you rate the ability of organizations based in Nigeria to evolve above the crisis?
I think the crisis was a good thing for Nigeria when it comes to technology and even the world. We saw, the top 10 richest people in the world in technology, they got richer. Firstly, crisis and problems are opportunities, and if you can solve those problems creatively and sometimes disruptively, that is innovation. And therein lies the advantage for businesses to impact individuals, impact lives, society, and make some money.
Okay, Wale, how do we get legacy organizations who are probably not as nimble as startups to innovate and make innovation occur naturally within their organizations?
Okay, I think training is a fantastic way to do that. I've been training in the last 4 years. I've been training organizations on innovation, and mainly the technology staff that I've been coming for this training. And in the course of my training, 30 minutes to 1 hour into the training, people start to pop up ideas, and I realized that that training is actually opening their subconsciousness to innovation. So training is a great way to do this. Secondly, they need to set up structures to be able to listen, to listen to within the organization. That man that's been doing the same process over and over and over again for 10 years has pretty good ideas, on how to improve that process. So you need to listen to such people. And then the organization also needs to encourage innovation. So if an innovation comes from within, they should reward that person with promotions. They could give them a certain percentage on any innovation that brings in revenue. And finally, I believe all this organization needs to set up an innovation unit. It's very important.
Digital disruption that we're all experiencing today has created opportunities. What are some of the trends that you see that organizations can take advantage of?
For example, there's a lot of AI going on right now, and one powerful thing I think is the AI software that can help to automate your processes. So whatever has been one person has been doing for a whole day, for 24 hours, and it's a continuous process, we can deploy AI software to actually carry out those, that same task in less than 1 hour, 30 minutes, even 10 seconds or 5 seconds. And that's what we call RPA, robotic process automation. Also, we can use AI to improve the customer's experience. For example, my company, we're working on, we have our own platform that there is an assistant, a digital assistant. So it could pop up in the morning when you wake up and say, "Good morning, James, how you doing? Your DSTV is going to expire later today. It's 9,000 Naira. You only have 3,000 Naira in your account." Or we see that you have other accounts and with 3,000 here, 5,000 here. Should we put them together and pay this DSTV bill, yes or no? Also, we could do things like, oh, yesterday you're spending, you went past the spending limit, you spent on budgeted items, and should we limit your spending today so you can catch up with your budget, with your budgeting plan? So those are those things that we're doing with digital assistants. Companies can also use mobile technology and mobility to drive remote services and drive remote operations. So mobility is not necessarily for only between the customer and the company, but also to help the company's operations so they can drive remote operations also for the health sector. They can use drones. We are not seeing too much drones being used in Nigeria yet, but drone is a powerful way to deliver things like pharmaceutical products to rural areas. In Zambia, there's a company doing that, and the drones are not so complex, simple drones, and they're able to get drugs down to hospitals and to primary health centers in rural areas.
Do you think we have enough policies that can encourage some of these innovative tendencies that you talked about, or if we don't, what do you recommend?
We have some policies, and some of them are not being implemented. For example, the NITDA, under the Ministry of Digital Economy, came up with policies to ensure that companies buy from within. But we still notice that a lot of tech companies are actually competing with foreign companies and foreign products, which are a lot more expensive and which are not so fit to our environment. And it's a big problem, and it kills innovation because that is access to markets. Such policies ensures access to markets for local innovation. Right now, majority of the funding is coming from abroad, and to a large extent, it's not enough. We need that local capacity. The banks have what they call the SME fund. I believe some part of that SME fund should be channeled towards innovation. That's going to be a great way of doing this. And like I said, we need the market to be protected for local innovators. We should not be competing with the foreign guys. So the foreign guys, sometimes they might have advantage of cost, they might have advantage of time, but one thing that will do a lot is advantage of customizing their platforms to fit to our community and our society.
Wale, always a pleasure. Thank you for being on the show today. Wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, and wish you the best too.
My guest has been Wale Kuku, CEO F1 Interactive, who believes that pushing for an innovative economy is simply the way to go. All hands must be on deck if Nigeria must truly evolve as an innovative economy capable of solving her own challenges. We've come to the end of the show, but it doesn't end here. The conversation continues online. We are Tech Trends TV on social media. Also watch the show on Channels TV YouTube or cfablog.ng. For Tech Trends, I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.